There is a moment in every dream, a moment where the excitement fades, the applause disappears, and the road ahead suddenly feels longer than you imagined. In the beginning, everything feels possible. You're energized, you're motivated, you're ready to conquer the world. But then something happens. Progress slows down. Doubt creeps in. The results you expected don't show up when you thought they would. And in that quiet moment between effort and outcome, many people make the same decision. They quit, not because they're not talented, not because they're not capable, but because they misunderstood what the journey would actually require. The truth is, most people don't fail because their dream is impossible. They fail because they give up at the exact place where success begins to demand more from them. If you want to understand why so many people stop chasing their goals, you have to understand 3 powerful reasons that break even the strongest intentions. And once you understand these reasons, you can make sure you're not one of the people who walks away. There comes a moment in every journey where the excitement fades and the silence begins. In the beginning, everything feels powerful. You wake up early with energy, you set your goals, and every small step forward feels like proof that you're moving towards something greater. You can see the changes, you can feel the momentum, and that momentum fuels you. But then something shifts. Days pass, weeks pass, sometimes months pass, and suddenly the progress that once felt so obvious becomes harder to see. You're still working, you're still trying, you're still showing up, but the results, they're not as visible as they once were, and that's the moment where most people start asking themselves the dangerous question, is this even working? This is where so many dreams quietly die. Not because the person didn't have potential, not because they didn't start strong, but because they reached the phase where growth became invisible. Think about the person who starts going to the gym. The first few weeks feel amazing. You lose a little weight, your body feels stronger, people notice the difference. But after a while, the scale stops moving as quickly. The mirror doesn't change overnight anymore. The excitement fades and suddenly the workouts feel heavier. The same person who once felt unstoppable now begins to doubt whether the effort is worth it. But what they don't realize is that the body is still changing, muscles are still adapting, strength is still growing beneath the surface. The progress didn't stop, it just stopped being obvious. And that pattern exists in almost every meaningful pursuit in life. When someone starts a business, the first sale feels like magic. It's proof that the idea works. But after that excitement fades, the real challenge begins. Long nights, slow growth, months where it feels like nothing is happening. Many people walk away during this stage believing the dream isn't working, when in reality they were simply in the part of the journey where patience matters more than excitement. Nature teaches the same lesson. There is a type of bamboo tree that spends years growing underground before anything appears above the soil. For years, nothing seems to change. If you looked at the ground, you might believe the seed failed, but beneath the surface, a powerful root system is spreading deeper and stronger. Then suddenly, when the foundation is ready, that bamboo can grow dozens of feet in a matter of weeks. Most people quit during the years when nothing is visible. They stand above the soil, staring at the ground, convinced that their effort has been wasted. They don't realize that the roots of their success are still forming underneath. The same thing happens with skills, with dreams, with personal growth. Someone learning a new skill struggles in the beginning. The improvement feels slow, awkward, frustrating, but every repetition is building something that can't always be seen right away. Every mistake is shaping understanding. Every difficult moment is strengthening the mind. But the human mind is impatient. We live in a world where everything feels instant. Messages arrive instantly. Entertainment appears instantly. Information is available instantly. And because of that, we begin to expect success to arrive the same way. But real growth does not work like that. Real growth is quiet. It happens in the early mornings when nobody is watching. It happens during the nights when you're tired, but you keep going anyway. It happens during the moments when you question yourself, but choose to take another step forward. And the truth is, the people who eventually succeed are not always the most talented or the most gifted. They are the ones who keep going when progress becomes invisible. They understand something powerful. Just because you cannot see the results today does not mean the effort is wasted. Just because the progress is slow does not mean it has stopped. Sometimes the most important changes are happening in places that no one else can see, yet your discipline is growing, your patience is growing, your resilience is growing. Those things may not show up on the surface immediately, but they are shaping the person you are becoming. And the person you are becoming is the real foundation of the future you are trying to build. So when the progress feels invisible, when the excitement fades, when the results seem slow, that is not the signal to quit. That is the moment that separates the people who stop from the people who eventually rise. At the beginning of any dream, everything feels exciting. The vision is clear, the motivation is strong, and the energy is unstoppable. You imagine the success, the transformation, the moment when all the effort finally pays off. In those early days, showing up feels easy. You're driven by passion, fueled by hope, and inspired by the possibility of what your life could become. But then something changes. The work begins to feel heavier. The mornings become harder to wake up to. The long hours start to test your patience. The excitement that once pushed you forward slowly gets replaced by fatigue, frustration, and doubt. What once felt inspiring now feels uncomfortable. And this is the moment where most people give up, not because they don't want success, not because they don't believe in their dreams, but because they didn't realize how uncomfortable the journey would actually become. The truth is, growth has never been comfortable. It never has been, and it never will be. When you train your body, the muscles burn before they grow stronger. When you push your mind, confusion and mistakes appear before clarity arrives. When you chase something meaningful, you are guaranteed to face moments where everything in you wants to stop. Discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. Discomfort is a sign that something is changing, but most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid discomfort. They search for the easiest path, the quickest reward, the smoothest road. And when the road becomes steep, they assume they've gone the wrong way. But the steep road is often the right road. Think about the person building a business. At first, the idea feels exciting. The vision of success is powerful, but soon the reality sets in. Long nights, uncertainty, rejection, slow progress. There are moments when it feels like the world is moving forward while you're standing still. In those moments, it would be easy to walk away, to choose comfort instead of struggle. Yet every successful entrepreneur has lived through that discomfort. Every athlete who stands on a podium has endured the exhaustion that others refuse to face. Every person who has built something meaningful has stood in the exact same moment where quitting felt easier than continuing. Comfort creates routine. Discomfort creates transformation. When the alarm rings early in the morning and you choose to get up anyway, that decision builds discipline. When you continue working after a long, exhausting day, that effort builds resilience. When you face rejection but refuse to let it define you, that moment builds strength. These small decisions, repeated again and again, slowly reshape who you are. Most people never experience that transformation because they leave the moment discomfort arrives. They mistake difficulty for failure. They assume that if something feels hard, it must not be meant for them. But the reality is much different. Anything meaningful will challenge you. Anything worth building will test you. Anything capable of changing your life will demand more from you than comfort ever could. So when the work becomes uncomfortable, when the motivation fades, when the journey feels heavier than you expected, remember this, you are not experiencing the end of the road. You are experiencing the part of the journey where most people decide to turn around. If you can stay there a little longer, if you can push through the discomfort just a little further, you will begin to realize something powerful. The struggle you once feared is the very thing shaping the strength you will one day be proud of. There is a quiet battle that happens inside every person chasing a dream. It's not always visible. No one else can hear it, but it is there whispering in the background of your mind. Doubt. It doesn't usually arrive at the beginning. In the beginning, hope is louder. Excitement is stronger. You believe in what you're building, and the future feels full of possibility. But as the journey continues, challenges appear. Things take longer than expected. Mistakes happen. Plans fall apart. And slowly, doubt starts to speak. It asks questions that sound small at first. What if this doesn't work? What if you're not good enough? What if you're wasting your time? The more obstacles you face, the louder that voice becomes. Eventually, many people stop seeing doubt as just a thought. They begin to treat it like the truth. That is where so many dreams disappear. Not because the person lacked ability, but because they allowed doubt to rewrite their story. They start believing that failure means they were never meant to succeed. They begin to think that setbacks are proof that they should stop. But doubt has never been a reliable narrator of your future. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful has faced the same voice. The difference is not that they avoided doubt. The difference is that they refused to surrender to it. Think about someone learning a new skill. In the beginning, they struggle. The progress feels slow. Mistakes happen again and again. Doubt shows up quickly, telling them they may never be good at it. Many people listen to that voice and walk away. But the ones who continue understand something powerful. Doubt is a reaction to uncertainty, not a prediction of failure. Every expert was once a beginner who felt unsure. Every confident person once stood in a moment where they questioned themselves. Every success story includes chapters where the outcome was far from guaranteed. Doubt will try to convince you that your struggle means you are not capable. But struggle is often the evidence that you are growing. If you allow doubt to become your story, it will slowly close the door on every opportunity waiting ahead. But if you keep moving forward despite it, something incredible happens. Each step weakens that voice. Each effort builds confidence. Each small victory reminds you that your limits were never as fixed as they seemed. The truth is, doubt will always exist. The question is whether it controls your decisions or simply accompanies your journey. Because the moment you stop letting doubt define you is the moment your real story begins to unfold. So understand this. Every dream, every goal, every meaningful path will lead you to moments where everything inside you tells you to stop. Progress will become invisible. The work will become uncomfortable. And doubt will try to convince you that you're not meant for this journey. That is the moment where most people walk away. But that moment is not the end of the road. It's the test that decides who keeps going and who turns back. The people who build extraordinary lives are not the ones who never struggled. They are the ones who refused to let the struggle define their ending. When progress slowed, they kept working. When the effort became painful, they stayed disciplined. When doubt spoke the loudest, they chose belief over fear. Because deep down, they understood something powerful. Success is not reserved for the most talented, the most confident, or the most fortunate. It belongs to the people who refuse to quit when quitting feels justified. One more effort, one more day, one more step forward. Sometimes that is all it takes to move from the place where most people stop to the place where your breakthrough begins. So when the journey gets heavy, when the results feel far away, and when doubt tries to write your ending for you, remember this, right? Your story is not finished. Keep going.